me.
It's interesting. I feel like the more I learn to better take care of like myself and my grief, the more I'm capable of parenting in a way that I want, which is like I sometimes have moments of feeling like sad that I had to like have a kid while I didn't have a mom, all that stuff. And then I realized like that there's some sort of like magic in understanding. There's this imperative nature to wanting to unhook from the parts that don't serve you because you understand how much you don't want to like have that be the legacy of your parenting.
Have there been any rituals or practices or patterns that you found that help you on an anniversary, or even that maybe don't help but just are a way that you have honored the day?
It used to just be like sorrow. Like I would get ready to move into, I'd be like, okay, here it comes. Like, get sad. Like, it isn't really a ritual, I guess, but there's not. And I think it's interesting because I also like don't have rituals about going to the cemetery. We lived in this city for 3 years before I went to the cemetery. Like it doesn't actually even occur to me to go very often. And I think that there's something about the idea of like a practice or a ritual around the anniversary that stresses me out.
Mm-hmm.
And also, so no,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes but also I think because it makes me feel very vulnerable and sort of like, I'm not really that kind of, you know me. Like, I'm a little like, come on, like it's like it doesn't. What do they say when you break up with like a boyfriend? Like that's so awful. Oh, looking good is the best revenge. Like there's like it's like 1980s kind of. I feel like,
With your shrimp cocktail.
yeah, right. But I feel a little bit like I've connected enough with my mom as like a peer in the smallest and sort of oddest of ways that I feel like in moments where I feel like, oh, I should, I'm sort of like, but I don't have to. Like you, like
Mm-hmm. Well,
me,
should, right? Like, fuck
yeah,
that.
yeah. But no, I mean, I like last night when I felt that like inkling of the feeling of like, oh, tomorrow's the day she'll be gone and I'll have to sit with her dead body and I'll watch them carry her out in the gurney to the van. And then like all of that stuff, it's because it doesn't go away. Like part of me is like, I don't want to do that anymore. Like, I don't want to think about like last time. Like, I don't want to think about like, when they take someone away to the mortuary, they have to like describe it to you. There's this like sort of legality thing. So like, we're going to take your mom and we're going to put her on the stretcher and then we're going to cover her with the blanket and carry her down the stairs. Then we're going to put her in the back of the van and close the door. Like, I don't like, sometimes I just don't want to invite that in because it's awful. It's awful. Like it was like, there's no part of that, either the dying experience, because she did die for a while. It wasn't immediate. That like, I'm good. I did that for a long, long time. And so I think sometimes my way of like honoring her is really like honoring my ability to like live in a frequency like she wasn't really ever able to get to because she died so young. And so I think that like I've learned that like my success in my life, which is my success in my relationships and my work and like my agency over my grief is like art, like I'm tag teaming that with her. And it's my like part of me feels such a like fierce level of like protectiveness and like defensiveness of the fact that like she wasn't able to like it cut off for her, you know, 49 gone, like everything she ever wanted was so close and then lights out. And so I think, very much long story longer, like I feel like my practice isn't around necessarily the anniversary. It's my practice of honor. I've learned is that like I can live, like I can try my best to like live out loud. Like I can try my best to like own my rising and like find it. And I don't have to, and that it's almost like imperative now. Like I almost feel like I'm catching up a little bit because I'm like, oh, like I get to, like, you know, we get to, like, what a, I hate some of these terms, like, what a gift. It's like, thanks. It's not really the one I wanted, but like, it is powerful to be able to like be in that position. It's powerful to work with like the strength of the dead at your back.
Oh yeah.
Like there's a little bit of like a moment of just like, oh wait, like I don't think you have any idea what I've seen and survived. Like I don't have to, like I can like lay down and float and like you can, you know, whatever. Like there's a piece of that feels, you know, that you can tuck away and hold on to. So I'm like, maybe I'll take Lucian to Costco today and stop by the cemetery. So I mean, you know, who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny, cemeteries. I used to, as a teenager, love getting stoned in the cemetery. Really, it felt like a connected place, even though it wasn't where my mom was, because I wasn't ever close to where my mom was, but it felt like being around dead people was.
They're great. So, yeah, those are the best. I'm like, bring it on.
Made me feel special, you know, that I had this special relationship with the dead, you know.
No, you have like the key, the secret back door key, you know, to like behind the row, you know, right. Behind the curtain.
Right. I didn't have to pretend to be goth. I just was.
It's kind of funny. I know. I feel like sometimes in these moments of like self-mastery and like we're all trying to be better and own our power, and sometimes I'm like, it's hard for me to hook into like all of that like Instagram world of like self-help because I'm like, oh, I don't need to, I just have to do that to live. Like this is just my, this is not like new and novel for me, you know. It's like survival technique.
Yeah, it was me at 8 being like, Dad, you have to find me a therapist because
I think something just happened.
I have to learn how to get through these giant emotions that keep pummeling me.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's interesting because, you know, I think when I think of anniversaries, for me, the harder part is the anticipation more than the day itself.
Yeah. Isn't that always it though? Like because our expectation, our assumption.
Right. Well, even as you were describing, like, oh, I got to prepare myself to like get real sad. Like it's going to be a hard one.